All right, welcome back to Kimchi Rednecks. We're starting with Editing Chuck today because Editing Chuck has realized, as I started editing this video, that I have either lost or forgot to record the intro to this. So, yay! I'm all together here. Anyway, so this is about our Cherry Brandy, and I am going to tell you from looking at the other videos as I'm editing that I know that we started with 10 1 kilogram bags of cherries, which is 22 pounds. It was either 12 or 13 12-ounce bags of cherries, so 156 ounces of that, and a kilogram bottle of cherry syrup. So we took all that, blended it up, put it in a bucket, put some Camden tablets in it, and let it sit overnight, and we are going to pick up there. All right, welcome back to the next step in Cherry Brandy. I've got, my bucket of blended cherries, which is, I'd say that's probably about a solid 3 gallons of blended cherries. And then, guess what we found in the freezer looking for something else? Another 3 kilograms of cherries. So, according to my cheat sheet here, that is 10 kilogram bags of cherries to go along with, what's the math on that, 156 ounces, so 13 12-ounce bags, I think, and a kilogram bottle of cherry base. So we got cherry. We got all the cherry. So what I'm about to do, what was I about to do? So I'm going to add stuff together here. So I've mentioned before we get these little drainer bags for the sink here in Korea. These are great for little things like this. I've got oyster shells to help keep the pH in the bucket stable. Tie them up in a little strainer bag like that and drop them right in. Next, I've got a bowl of stuff. My bowl of stuff consists of fermented O, so yeast nutrient. I think I'm going to wind up with about 8 or 9 gallons of mash in here. So I've got 8 teaspoons of nutrient, some North Mountain acid blend. I buy some of these because I like the little plastic containers they come in. It's good to put them together, throw a little desiccant packed in them and keep them dry because the humidity around here will mess some stuff up. Anyway, acid blend, that's I think a half teaspoon per gallon, so I got 4 teaspoons of that in there. And then pectic enzyme to help finish breaking down what the blender didn't take care of. So that one, I think I split the difference on that one. I think it's supposed to be a half teaspoon per gallon, but I put 6, so I split between 4 and 8 there. That's how math works. So we're going to add all that jazz in there. The extra 3 kilogram bags I found, I blended up and poured right into the big bucket. We put all that in there. Ooh, I hate that dust that it kicks up. All right, now I'm going to pour a big bucket of cherries into a bigger bucket of cherries. It's the highlight of my day, y'all. This is probably going to make a mess. I'm going to try and do this a little more smartly, because them was good words.
Should I be worried about you and your smartly?
Do me a favor and just tilt that kind of like that. That way I can pour this in without trying to dump it straight into the bottom, and hopefully we won't get splash town all over us.
That's a lot of cherries. Where did all these cherries come from?
Coupang.
Who ordered all these cherries?
And the local store.
Who ordered all the local cherries? Your crazy ass wife. Hold on. Might as well just.
I got.
Let's say water or cherry juice in there. So there's still shit in the bucket, y'all.
Of course, there's always leave behinds. Don't worry, I'll get that on the pour. Make sure you get all the goodness. All right, so believe it or not, apart from that 2-liter bottle of water we just used to help rinse the bucket and pour in there, I've got no water in this yet. This is all cherry. So, if I remember correctly, I will test it in a minute to make sure, but if I remember correctly, cherry and cherry juice does not have a really high starting gravity. I think it's like 0.02 or 0.03 or something stupid like that.
Too is we are not using, the majority of what we're using is going to be a tart cherry, so the
There's
sugar
not-
content in it is very minimal.
Right, there's not a lot of sweet cherry in it. There is some sweet cherry, but there's not a lot of it in here. So I'm going to mix, I think, 1.5 pounds of sugar, a pound or 1.5 pounds of sugar per gallon of mix here. So that should get us right around, I'm going to go with 10 pounds of sugar just to make it easy because that's a nice round number.
Did you tell them what we're making with this? Other than
Cherry brandy.
Did you tell them why we're making cherry brandy?
So that we have cherry brandy to make other stuff with. We're going to make some more cherry bounce later on because that cherry bounce was good.
And Melissa wants to make cherry limeade. Yeah, I do. I totally do.
Yeah. But first we got to get through this part.
Boozy cherry limeade just sounds fun.
It does sound kind of fun. Sounds like a girly drink.
And our strawberry lemonade was very popular. So.
Yes, that was another girly drink that everybody loved.
But didn't you like the girly drink?
It was pretty good.
He drank it too. So, were you girly?
I was girly. Right. So,
Paint your toenails later.
gonna heat up some water. Probably gonna add 2 to 3 gallons of water in here, and 10-ish pounds of sugar, and then we will see where we're at. Hopefully we have somewhere between a 1.06 and a 1.08 starting gravity, because that's where I like to start at.
Yeah.
Too much higher, you have problems with killing your yeast. Too much lower, you don't get enough output. That's the butter zone. The sweet spot.
Ooh, he's finding the sweet spot. So you're going to use the sugar, or do you want the simple syrup that we already have? Because we already have some simple syrup.
No, I'm going to use sugar, and with that, because I forgot to mention that, a little bit of citric acid while you boil your sugar. It's called inverted sugar. It makes it easier for the yeast to break down. Hopefully, that makes this run a lot smoother. Because basically, we got to make cherry wine before we can make cherry brandy.
Yeah.
So, we'll see y'all at the next step. All right, on to the next step. I'm keeping a running list of what we put in, so I'll put it in the details below, hopefully, if we remember. But we added a total of 16 liters of water, so just over 4 gallons of water. And our starting gravity was right on 1.08, so right where I wanted it. And as you can tell, if you can see, my yeast is blooming nicely, and it's pink because I put the some of the juice from the cherry stuff in here. So we're going to add all that in. Get a little swishy swish to get all the goodies out, and that is that for that. So yeast blend, since we got a little right around between 8 and 9 gallons of mash, I did 2 packets of EC 1118 and a dash of daddy yeast just for flavor. So this is going to take a little while. Let's see, what did I say? Probably 8 to 10 days, I think, given the temperature that we're at in Korea at the moment. It should run pretty quick. Should be back in 8 to 10 days, 2 weeks max, to filter this out and drain it into a new container. See you then. All right, welcome back to Cherry Brandy. We are about 2 weeks in, and as you can see here, the cap on our Cherry Brandy has pretty much all fallen. There's a few stragglers floating about, but I'm pretty sure it's about done. So, what we're about to do, if you can tell by my setup here, we got the little plastic, I want to call it a kiddie pool, but in Korea they use these to make kimchi. So I guess it's a kimchi pool. And I've got a clean and sanitized bucket set up. And what I'm going to do is pour all this through a bag, which I've just realized I haven't put in here yet. But I'm going to go get a bag, put it in here, and we're going to pour this through it so that we strain out at least some of the yeast and the fruit so we can press that if we need. Then we're going to let this set for couple days to a week, let the yeast that's been disturbed by the pouring settle to the bottom, and then we'll auto siphon it or rack it into another container, so hopefully we get just the wash with no yeast in it, because we're going kind of the wine route with this first. we need to get the primary fermentation done so that we can flavor it with some cherry juice, let it sit for a little bit, develop a little bit of ambiance, a little flavor to it, before we distill it. So, let me go find a bag. I will be right back. All right, so found one of my brew bags. I have sanitized it liberally. Sanitizer is cheap. Feel free to use it as much as possible. You always want to keep basically anything out of your mash. Because if you got a bunch of fruits and nutrients and all the stuff that you're trying to turn into an alcohol in there, that's just food for bacteria as well, so sanitize it. Now, I do not feel like trying to He-Man this container up and pour it, so that's why I've got this chair here so I can just tilt it and pour into that one, because physics. Now, because I'm also an idiot, this chair rotates, so I have to make sure it doesn't rotate while I'm tilting. And make sure it doesn't slide, or this could turn into a catastrophe. Whoo! That is a thick cake at the bottom of this. It's a lot of cherries. And Melissa, do you think we should bother to try and press this? We got like 6 inches of blended cherries in the bottom of this thing. So if we were after maximum alcohol, this stuff is wet. I definitely could press it and probably get another quart or two of juice out of it. But I'm also very lazy. And I think it's just going to be easier to throw that away because a lot of the yeast is caught up in that cake. I think that's what we're going to do. So, as I said before, I'm going to strain what came through into the bag. We'll let this sit for a few days, and then we'll rack it into another clean container so that we can flavor it. And we will see y'all then. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the cherry video. So, this, from the last bit that you probably saw, which is where I filtered out the actual cherries in the cake, we let this sit for another week so that whatever yeast was left in the solution should hopefully have dropped to the bottom. Now, we are going to siphon or rack this into another container. As you can see, I got little buckets down here. So let me get my hose on the siphon here. There we go. Now, obviously, I'm trying to avoid picking up any of the stuff that may have collected at the bottom, but seeing as that this is a very dark cherry color at the moment, I can't see the bottom of the bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, figure out where the bottom is, and then I'm going to pull it up about 2 to 3 inches, and then let it go from there. Also, remember when you're siphoning, gravity helps. Always have the container that you're siphoning from higher than the container you're siphoning to, so that gravity will help pull it down. All right. All right, so that is all the way down. I'm going to pull that up just a hair and start the siphon. Now you may have to hold it in place because, like with the rim on this one, it doesn't have enough grip to hold it in place and it starts to slide. So we're gonna basically hold this here. Seeing as this is about 11 to 12 gallon bucket and we're up to about here, I think we got about 8 gallons mash, so that's gonna be more, or 8 gallons of wash, which is gonna be more than will fit in one bucket. So I'm gonna split this between the 2 buckets, and then we will taste it later and post flavor. So this is boring. I'll get back to you. All right, so it's been a few minutes with the cherry brandy maturing in the container as low wines with a little bit of cherry added extra for some flavor. So now we're on to the run-in. So as you can see by my ultimately high-tech setup here, we got the Vivor out on the induction eye, which works quite well for us. We got the thump keg out, got some cherries and cherry juice in there, and it's running over to the condenser coil, which I still have to rebuild my condenser bucket because I broke the old one. There is a V2 in the works. I got the parts for it. I just got to get the time to do it. And, well, hopefully it'll fix this height issue that I don't know why I have a height issue this time, but I did. So I'm a little elevated here. I got a little jar and a cup, and I'm going to use those as my cuts to go in the big jar. So I think there was only 7 liters of the low wine, so I'm not really expecting more than about 2 liters of finished. So we will see what comes out. All right, welcome back. We started this video in May, I think, according to the computer, and it is January 1st. It's been a minute. 2025 has really not been a great year, so yeah. But we're here. It has been distilled. It has been put in a jar. According to my notes here, it is currently at 120 proof. And I think it's been sitting in this jar for like 3 months and it hasn't been touched. So we're going to do a quick taste test, see where it's at the moment. And then we're going to split it up because some of it is going to go to a, what was it, a cherry limeade or a cherry lemonade?
Cherry limeade.
Cherry limeade mix. And the rest of it is going to go to another cherry bounce mix because cherry bounce is good. Real good. So let me grab a tasting utensil here. And because I'm a big dum-dum, I'm going to taste this at 120 just to see if it burns the hair out my nose. Well, it's definitely got a cherry smell to it. Oh, by the way, Melissa is set up on the couch with the dogs because photo here.
Do I get to approve said photo?
Yeah, you get to approve said photo. Melissa just got out of the hospital because toe surgery. But at least the hospital helped us out and we got it done before the end of the year and our deductible reset, so we didn't have to pay ridiculous amount of money to remove an itty bitty little thing off a toe. Right, so 120 proof, huh? That's a spicy cherry. Woo! Let me get some water. Where's my water? Do I have water? I have water. You know, I probably could have been a little more prepared for this, but where's the fun in that? All right, so I have exactly no idea what the ratio is that I just put in there, but I'm gonna water it down a little bit and see if it gets a little less incendiary. Still has cherry on the nose, that's good. Okay. There is cherry in the flavor, but the flavor is still a bit peppery. So I am thinking that it's a good idea that we're going to mix this with other stuff to both bring it down and sweeten it, because that will probably mellow it a bit. Because while that doesn't set your tongue on fire, you can definitely tell it's got a little burn to it. So I've got jars. How much of this are we doing for cherry bounce? Well, whichever one it is, the cherry limeade's going to get an equal amount of limeade base in it, but cherry bounce is going to get cherries and other stuff mixed in it, so both of them are going to be... Alright, so Melissa just kindly reminded me that I was pouring out of a jar and I didn't need to pour into a third jar. So we got these two, one of which will be cherry limeade mix and the other one will be a cherry bounce mix. Not exactly sure which one's going to be which at the moment, but there should be relatively equal amounts in the two, so that is what we are going to do with this, and that's where this video is going to end, because it's been going on for, what, 7 months now?
Lots of months.
Lots of months. So, the cherry has distilled. It does have cherry flavor and cherry nose. If that's where you wanted to stop and just put some white oak or some French oak in it, rock on, you can do that. We are going to carry on a little further. I'm actually probably going to do that, and whichever one of these is going to end up being cherry bounce, because a little bit of aged oak flavor before you mix in all the cherries and the cherry juice and everything else actually goes pretty well in it. So we will do that in one of these jars, and the other one is going to be cherry limeade, because our strawberry lemonade or whatever it was pretty damn popular. I have to admit, it was pretty good.
Right.
So we're going to have fun with that. Like, subscribe, do the internet stuff. We will see y'all I would say this coming year, but it's the first, so it's this year.
We'll see you again this year.
Yay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I've got enough friends all over places, but a kimchi redneck's got a brand new redneck high.